many issues: making it to class on time, completing classwork, maintaining a job, juggling schedules, and for many of us, maintaining money on our own. In addition to tuition, how many of you are financially responsible for any of the items on the screen? According to collegeboard.org, across the United States, in the past 5 years, tuition has gone up between 5 and 70%. This graph shows on the top the current tuition, and on the bottom it shows a 5-year percent change over the United States. You might think the rise in tuition is because of failing economies or lack of student enrollment. But the National Center of Education Statistics, NCES, reported in 2013 a record 21.8 million students were expected to attend American universities and colleges, constituting an increase of about 6.5 million since 2000. The purpose of my speech is to inform you of the rise in tuition, who it is affecting, why it is rising, and tuition assistance. When thinking of the burden of tuition, the person that comes to mind tends to be the student. But in many cases, these students' educations are being supplemented by their parents. Parents feel the burden as well. In Washington State, the tuition has risen over 70% in the last 5 years. Heather, a mother of a student who goes to Washington State, makes it clear as she broadcasted, cost is no factor when she broadcasted to NPR. There was never any question whether her child would go to college, only what she would study. I would like you to take into consideration the possible student situations, whether they are financially relying on their parents, have a part-time job, or a full-time job. But when you consider NCES studies, a person with only a high school diploma, on average, only makes about $30,000 a year. Here is the cost of Florida State University. If you are a Florida resident, tuition costs around $16,580 when you live with your parents. When you do not live with your parents and you are not a Florida resident, it could cost as much as $39,058. If parents are unable to assist and financial aid will not cover school, students often resort to borrowing money to afford the school, or decide the cost is too great. College stats show that Valencia's graduation rate is less than 50%. This statistic shows that many students are unable to complete their college education, and it can be assumed that financial funding has something to do with this. Next, I would like to explain a few reasons why tuition prices have gone up. The law of supply and demand states that the amount of a commodity, product, or service available and the desired buyers of it considered as factors regulating the price. Interestingly, supply and demand works more aggressively in education. As I stated previously, with 21.8 million students expected to attend American colleges in 2013, gives colleges the fuel they need to be competitively priced. Also, budget cuts, education subsidiaries have been reduced, which has led schools to increase tuitions to cover the lack of funding. Center on Budget and Policy Priorities express how budget cuts can cause universities to reduce available degree programs, shrink or eliminate athletic departments, cut back on research funding, or terminate non-essential faculty and staff members. All of these factors are dependent on the college's fund management. United States Census Bureau reports that the median family income is $53,046. As I stated previously, tuition can range between $16,000 and $40,000 a year, sometimes more. As a result, many households are unable to allocate necessary resources their children's future education. Parents are not prepared to cover the expenses college tuition comes with. With resources to assist with funding, parents can get a Head Start savings with plans such as Florida Prepaid. It has multiple options to choose with different payment plans and arrangements from birth to high school. There's also FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, offering funding assistance for higher education. It is free to apply. You simply go online and you fill out an application with information about your income and your parents' income. And unfortunately, there are circumstances that you will not meet the requirements to receive the funds. If unable to receive assistance, another option is a student loan. American student assistance show more than half of American students have a student loan. A senior graduating college not only can earn a degree, but most likely, or on average, $25,000 in student loan debt as well. According to Consumer Finance Bureau, a standard student loan takes on average 10 years to pay off. In brief, the rise in student tuition affects students and parents. Supply and demand and government budget cuts have had a huge impact on the rise in tuition. Parents can aggressively take advantage of savings programs, financial aid, or student loans. Thank you for allowing me to enlighten you about the rise in tuition, who it is affecting, why it is rising, and tuition assistance. You have to pan. Thank you.